middle of June, and I'm standing here in probably one of the most beautiful spots in all of Alberta. The water is at the lowest level I've ever seen it, but to be fair, I've never come here this early in the season. I always come later on in the fall. But today, I'm standing right in front of Moraine Lake. Today we are not here to explore Moraine Lake. We just came and stopped to come take some pictures, but we are exploring Consolation Lakes. So if you get to these rock piles at Moraine Lake, as you get up there, you'll see a little trail that veers off, and it basically goes in behind that ridge of mountains that's right in behind me here. So that little trail goes around and follows a little creek, and there's two little lakes back there called Consolation Lakes. So we're gonna go check that out to see what that looks like, because I think it's one of those things that you go and check out after you've been to Moraine Lake quite a few times, because this would be my 6th time here just in the last calendar year. So we're gonna go check out every little nook and cranny. This is, I think, the little Babel Creek it's called, and this time of year, when most of this water is melted, it's flowing right good. Quite treacherous to be crossing these this time of year. Very, very noisy. Also a good reminder for everybody, when you're walking near these, you need to make a lot of noise for the bears to hear you, because you guys can probably hear this creek super loud, and if you don't make a lot of noise, you might startle animals that you're coming. Kilometer mark that we've gotten so far, there's Taylor Lake Trail that keeps going that way, and it's for a backpacking location, TA6, and obviously we're going to Consolation Lake back this way. Trail eventually breaks open to an open area, and lucky for us today, got a cool view of these awesome mountains here. We're kind of on the other side of the mountain now, and we're just following down this little valley down to the Consolation Lakes. Now the sun's finally up, and I think we got a little bit of luck here, and a gorgeous view. In behind me there is basically the other side of the valley of the 10 peaks. So now we finally made it across to the far other side, and there's this gorgeous tiny little valley here. But right down there is Consolation Lake, and we're gonna go a little bit closer and then go around so to show you guys some better footage. And I took an amazing shot of this whole little valley here just as we got close to where the creek starts, and I'm gonna show you guys that right now. There's still a whole lot of snow, but everything is melting, so it's definitely spring here in the mountains. That's pretty much when spring starts in the mountains. It's pretty much the month of June. This lake here, it's 2/3 frozen, which is kind of crazy. And gorgeous glaciers at the back, and there's a big, thick row of glaciers on the top of that mountain. It looks small from here, but that must be 10, 20, 30 meters thick. Insane views. This lake reminds me of Cirque Lake, which is also in Banff. It's a little bit further north, but as you get close to the lake, see, you have to cross all of these big boulders, and you have to be super careful if you want to get close to the water, because it's easy to roll an ankle. Even myself, probably took me 20 minutes just to do maybe 100 meters here. A gorgeous view of one of my favorite mountains in all of the Canadian Rockies is Mount Temple at the very far back. The clouds have been kind of weaving in and out. Gorgeous little lake, even though it's quite difficult to get all the way up to the front of it. But we're at the very front of Consolation Lake, and you can see the bottom of this lake is just like what I'm sitting on here. It's like boulders upon boulders. And actually I had a little marmot coming across me on the other side there, who was I think just checking out what people were doing here. And they're really quick in this type of terrain, climbing on this because they're low to the ground, so they're easy to slick in and out. But we are now going to see if we can go around this lake. A lot of scree at the back there from glacier activity over the years and erosion. When you're coming back to the lake, if you stay higher up, it's way easier to travel because the rocks are a lot smaller and you're not dealing with these big boulders that you basically need all 4 of your limbs to travel on. Time for us to keep on hiking, guys. Peace out. And the weather's gotten significantly better. I got rid of most of my layers. I just got my base layer on, which is kind of nice. I'm currently in behind the two Consolation Lakes, there's the larger one that's right in front of me here, and then right in behind me at the back, you can't see it from that camera angle, but the smaller lake is right here. And it does a little bit remind me of Geraldine Lakes in Jasper, how there's an area where there's all these boulders and erosion over the years, and you can hear the water all over crisscrossing through these boulders, but it's so deep down that obviously you can't see it. That mountain at the back here, also very, very impressive. I love the view, and I'm going to show you guys an awesome little view of this whole back end here right now. You gotta be super careful hiking around this stuff here. These are definite ankle busters. Just looking down below here, it's brutal what this looks like. So you have to take your time. For the most part, you don't want to step on the largest boulders. You want to go around them, and you want to step down in these smaller portions here. That way you can set your feet in and hold on to these boulders as you move along. It seems to be like the easiest and most efficient way, and actually it's fastest and it's the safest way to do it. So instead of going across like over top of these, you can just go down below and you can get across. And if you're using your hands, you can walk across this stuff fairly quickly. This is what you don't want to do. You get pinched. If you're on the highest rock, you get pinched down and you can't get down. This is risky business, so you have to make sure you have your hands free. This is way safer. Sit down on your butt, loop around, and you can use your hands. And this, there's no way that I'm losing my balance here. It's one step at a time, then you can just walk all over. Listen, if you do fall, you lose your balance, you can lean onto a rock. But if you're on the highest rock, you might go for a tumble. Peace out. So this would be the second Consolation Lake. It's like the consolation prize for making it all the way out to here and avoiding all these big boulders. Yeah, this reminds me of a lot of different places in Alberta. One of them would be the actual end of the Paradise Valley. There's like a little lake there. It's very reminiscent of this here. And it's really, really close to this area, so it kind of makes sense that you'd have similar formations. What I'm sitting in here is basically the lake that's slowly moving through and going through these boulders to going to the next lake, which is going down to that little creek that goes all the way back to Moraine Lake. And this is Consolation Lake, which is on the other side of the Valley of the 10 Peaks. And I'm Eric Tremblay, and these are my adventures. Peace out.
Yeah.